This is your host, Alexandra Bernard-Simmons, and you're watching Think Like a Boss TV. And today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, chasing your dreams and why it is integral for you to live your truth. And today I have these three gorgeous women with me today, and they're in different fields, but they still have one thing in common, that grit to get them to the next level and building their ideal lives. So to my right, I have the beautiful Miss Lena Cohen. I want you to just tell them a little bit about yourself, darling.
Well, my name is Lena. I am an author, a TED speaker, and a coach, and my expertise is emotional intelligence. So I love to help people gain a sense of self-awareness, self-control, learn how to have empathy, and to have a certain sense of social awareness. And of course, I love to do women empowerment. It's something that is a part of who I am in just developing people. And, it always feels good when we can come together and collaborate and push one another and lift one another up. So I love what I do. And I'm super excited to be here, so thank you again for having me.
Thank you for coming. Every time I call this girl, she comes through, okay? just wanted to put that out there. And next, I have the beautifully talented Lyndsay Christian. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all.
Thanks for coming.
So I'm a producer and correspondent for NJTV News. We're literally around the corner, right here in the heart of Newark. I also am a freelance red carpet host and MC for events. I should also mention that I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of the Bougie Bunch. We host professional networking events for women of color. In fact, we're gearing up for our first event in DC this Saturday. So
that's amazing.
I'm all about, just like you, Lena, women empowerment and just supporting and lifting each other.
No, that's perfect. We need more of that. And this is exactly why I have these queens with me today. I just feel their energy every time I follow them on social media. But I'm like a social media stalker a little bit. But last but not least, Miss Natalie Louis.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So I'm Natalie. I am an author, international speaker, and breakthrough coach, and I help women go from breakup to breakthrough. Breakups can be hard, but once you get past the emotional state, I push them to get their breakthrough and get past the heartbreak, get past the pain, get past the shame, and get their confidence back.
That's beautiful.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your light with the world.
Thank you.
So let's just dive right into this topic because you guys have a long list of beautiful things that you guys are doing right now. How hard was it for you to actually find that path that you're walking right now? Who wants to go first? Look, I got the blank looks. They're like,
I can start because my journey certainly has not been an easy one, but a fulfilling one, to say the least. I knew when I graduated from college that I wanted to do something in the communications realm. I just didn't know what that was. So I started off teaching communications, and that transitioned to working for a magazine, and I was bitten by the journalism bug when I was working for a magazine, writing, and I saw my first piece published, and then from there transitioned to writing for a news show rather, and then transitioning to on-air work, then moving from Houston to Tulsa, Oklahoma, then to New York City to pursue it on a grand scale. My mom always says, Lindsay's walking a faith walk. It's been a faith walk. This entire journey has been a faith walk. When you have the faith of a mustard seed, and you're walking in your purpose, God will just make a way. And He has throughout my journey. So I just encourage you, those of you who are watching, stay the course, walk in your purpose, and just go with the Spirit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lena, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I had somewhat of an unconventional path as well. It's so interesting. At 16, I actually started working at a bank, and by 19, I was a telemanager, and 21, I was doing retirement planning. So I had spent a lot of my early years in finance. And then, like Lyndsay, when the market crashed, I realized it wasn't an industry that I wanted to be in. Just seeing the hurt and the pain and how people could go from living a great life one day to having nothing. I went into the communications field as well. I worked at CBS for a while. But underlying, and you talked about a faith walk, underlying, I had always been a Boys and Girls Club kid. I had over hundreds of hours of volunteerism. I was always speaking. I was always teaching. I was always a grassroots girl underneath. And a few years into my career at CBS, I lost one of my really good girlfriends to drug addiction. And I realized that some of the soup kitchens and park cleanups and walks just wasn't enough for me. So I went back to school and I got my master's in human services, and I decided to change that underlying passion into my way of life. And I started a business, and it's been an incredible journey ever since. And when you talk about entrepreneurship, it is not an easy journey.
That road.
It is something that it's a journey.
Yes.
It's something that you learn as you go along, and it can be difficult. But when you have the faith, as Lyndsay said, God always makes a way.
Always.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Natalie, what do you think, honey?
Well, you guys spoke about faith. So my business was birthed from all the pain that I went through. Lots of pain, lots of just things that unsure of myself, trying to figure out who I am, wrong relationships, just trying to fit in crowds that I never was supposed to fit in. But I took that pain and I turned it into power. And I said, you know what? I know I'm not the only one that has been on a journey. I always say with my book, Release the Queen in You, that every woman has a queen inside of her. But sometimes you have to go on a journey to release her, to get to that point where you recognize, wait a minute, I'm a queen. Let me stop acting this way. Let me stop doing these bad behaviors. So on my journey, I realized, I was my own enemy. It wasn't anybody else. It was me. So I had to, start the journey to get myself right and get my mind back right. And I looked through everything and I said, I know I'm not the only one that's going through this. So as far as, with breakups, that was one of the things, attracting the wrong people, because I wasn't really sure of who I was. But once I realized, wait a minute, I'm a queen, then things started to change. And that's where the business was birthed out of, my book. And then, I was just talking to people. I'm the encourager. I'm the person that people come to. I'm the strong friend. I'm the one that carries the, girl, pray for me. Or I'm up 2 o'clock in the morning on the phone with you. That's just my personality. I do that. I would do that with a complete stranger. But I figured, you know what? Let me turn this into something that's different, something that's not like everything else, and something that can help women. And a lot of people feel shame about their past. They feel shame about breakups. They feel shame about some of the decisions that they made. But my thing is, don't feel shame about your story. God has brought us all through different things, and you never know what someone has went through until they tell their story. So I just decided, you know what? I'm being very transparent. I'm going to tell my story. And in doing so, I got a lot of people, wait, that's my story too. So just being open and helping women, helping them realize you are a queen. You don't have to settle.
Absolutely, yes. And one thing, just across the board, just from sitting here listening to you guys, pain actually leads you to your purpose.
Always.
And one thing, again, with that faith, it's like you're merging the two. You're turning that negativity that you got from the pain, you're flipping it into a positive aspect. That pain made you wiser. That pain made you stronger. That pain is now making you a teacher for somebody else.
Absolutely.
And that's something you have to thank God for your past, as well as what He's going to do for you in your future.
So
Because
true.
everything adds up to your purpose. So yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So my next question is in regards to your childhood. What likes and dislikes in your childhood kind of pertains to what you're doing today? For example, I am a dancer, but I never went to dance school. That was just something that my family could not afford. And I just love dance so much that in my yearbook, when I turned 18, I said, I'm going to be a professional dancer, period. Like, that was it. And I'm going to open my own dance school. And I made sure I manifested that. That was my first business, a performing arts school. And it's still going till this day, 6 years strong. So, and I feel like right now, today's day and age, adults lose their childlike dreams, right? I feel like adulthood is kind of where your dreams go to die. When you get responsibilities and your job and your mortgage, it's like, I don't feel comfortable leaving my job right now to follow my dreams because, you don't want to take that leap of faith, or you don't want to take a risk. As kids, we were jumping off of roofs. I don't know my job. I was turned for no reason, none.
Yeah.
But, jumping from one couch to another, like just doing crazy things. And when we get like in adulthood, we're just like, I'd rather not. Right? So just think about like anything in your childhood that you think kind of sparked what you're doing today, or anything that you kept from then that you're applying to now.
I have to comment first because my story is analogous to yours. I started dancing at the age of 4, and my grandparents actually supported my mom in putting me through dance school. So I started at the age of 4, and I danced through, I think, my college years, minored in dance. And even when I moved to New York, I continued to pursue it, because my dream was to become a dancer with Alvin Ailey, right? So I'm going to become a professional dancer, but I always found a way to maybe take a class here and there to keep fueling that passion of dance, because I love performing. And just using my body as an instrument to either minister and or tell a story. And so when I moved to New York, I joined the praise dance ministry at a church in Harlem, which then transitioned into a dance troupe, which was Ailey-esque. So I was like, I'm so happy, so happy. So I would say, don't give up on your dream, but find another way to, maybe you want to play the piano, or maybe you want to sing, maybe you could sing on the weekends, or like I use church as my way to continue dancing, but perhaps, if you still want to dance, I would say do it.
Yes,
find
absolutely.
a stage, find a class. And for me personally, I think that has encouraged and really sparked that performance in me, that communication. I just like to tell a story, whether it's writing, whether it's telling the news story, or telling it through dance, through an art form. That's always been my inspiration.
I agree wholeheartedly. Dance opened me up to the entertainment world, period.
Absolutely.
And it's like I'm in love with the stage. Like right now, I'm in my happy place.
We can
period.
tell.
Yes. Anybody else want to share about?
I'll share. So growing up in Camden, like yourself, we didn't have a lot of opportunities or programs and different things, and people would come in and start programs and they wouldn't all end up the way that we thought they would. But thankfully, when I was 14, a Boys and Girls Club was built, and at first it was in this little house. And we were all like, is this it? Is this it? And we watched it. We watched them build it from the ground up. And that's where I really found out the power of your voice. When I was 17, I became the Boys and Girls Club of Camden County's Youth of the Year. And that is where we express what we've gone through, what we're going through, and what our aspirations are. And that's where I learned that by me using my voice and by me telling my story, that I can get other people to buy in and support programs and other opportunities for children who may not have those same opportunities. So it's so funny how things come full circle.
Absolutely.
Because although I did all of these other things and had 2 other amazing careers, I ended right back up on a stage talking about my experiences and helping other people. So that was my childhood experience.
Absolutely.
I like how you said when you're adulting, you kind of shrink, because when you have a child, I'm a single mother. You just like, now I gotta put mothering on top of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So sometimes as mothers, we just, I gotta take care of my son, I gotta take care of my child, but you forget about your dreams. So with me, I've always kept a journal. I've always been writing, but for that purpose, it was more of a healing thing for me, because it was the outlet. But I didn't think of it like, wait, I could tell my story and then, transform other people, or have other people get open enough to tell their story. So that was the one thing with me. I've always kept a journal, probably since about age 7. I've always had a journal.
Wow.
I still keep a journal till this day. I have a couple of them for a couple of different purposes now.
Right.
But now looking back, like, I said I was going to be an author. I'm an author. So it's just going back and keeping that. I still keep that part of me. That part of me has never died, even to the point where even my child, he does the same thing. He keeps the journal himself. So I would encourage anyone watching, that is a single parent or a parent, just, whatever your dreams are, keep those have that childlike faith and keep going with that dream, whatever it may be.
Absolutely, I agree. So to our next question. What do you guys think are the most common dream blockers that the average person is facing nowadays?
People.
There you go.
It's gotta be people.
There you
It's
go.
the number one thing. In my latest book, Stop, Drop, and Roll, stop is for stop procrastinating. Drop is drop negative people, places, and things that are hindering your destiny. And roll is being able to roll with the punches. But that center part, when I do workshops, when I go out and speak, and I get to drop the negative people, places, and things that are hindering your destiny.
Yes.
People are so
Life-changing.
emotionally tied to toxic individuals that don't believe in them, that don't encourage them, that don't support them, that don't serve a positive purpose in their life. And if they cannot find the strength to detach or at least create a boundary, those people can be the dream killers. I find that in my business that's the number one thing that stops people from really manifesting their dreams.
Wow, very powerful.
And I would say that's part of fear too.
Absolutely.
Because fear, what are they going to say about me?
Right,
If I tell my
fear.
story, what are people going to think about? What are they going to say? So we're so focused on they, and then with social media it makes it so much worse, where people just, you don't really know who people are. But in fear, for me, I see that just across the board. It doesn't matter what age. There are people who are older who never accomplish their dreams because of fear of, I can't do that, or I don't know how to do this, or feeling like they're not qualified or worthy of the dream that God gave them. And I always say, if He gave it to you, go ahead and do it.
It's yours.
It's yours. It's done. So I would say fear. I'm writing my third book, From Fear to Faith, because you're gonna have to just if you're gonna do this thing, you gotta say bye to
Full
fear.
throttle.
You gotta say goodbye to fear. You gotta stop caring about people.
Yeah.
You just gotta go for it. So I would say fear is I would say fear is one of the things that people just pause. And it's like you can have the plan, you can have all the education, it doesn't matter. But that fear of rejection, or fear of what are people going to say about this, or how are people going to feel about this, or if I share my story, what would my family think? You just got to kill it if you're going to go after your dreams. Fear can't exist. Fear and faith don't mix. You can't mix the two. So you can't walk. You can't say you're doing a faith walk, but then you have all this fear.
Absolutely.
It's not going to work.
So, how do you guys stay motivated on this type of journey? Like you were saying, entrepreneurship, it's not what it's cracked up to be. It is not the easiest road. It may be a fateful road, but it's not the easiest road. I remember my second year in business, two things happened. I almost gave up, one, but then I also found my tipping point, two. And what I mean by tipping point, I found the recipe of success for my business, and it skyrocketed from there. But it was at that moment where I almost gave up, like, man, this ain't gonna work. I was tripping. Right? So, but in that time, I was thinking about what did I do that kept me there. And it was just like I kept, like, just, God gave this to me. God gave me dance. How do I flip this? I know I'm supposed to flip it. How? Right? So I had to think outside the box, and my dance school is not traditional at all. This is not a traditional dance school. And I kind of just focused on that. And I was like, look, if God gave me something, I know I'm supposed to flip it. And that was my motivation at that time. So for you guys, how do you keep yourself motivated in this journey?
Well, I will say no, for every no is really fuel for me. In the television business, as you probably know, it's extremely competitive, but for every door that has not opened, or every door that has closed, however you want to look at it, that's just motivation for me to continue to pursue. And I think, if just not giving up, I don't know how else to say it, it's really simple.
Right.
And just continued prayer and just believing in yourself, creating your own lane. So perhaps you won't be the next Michael Jordan, but you would create your own team and do something in the community. There are ways around it, but just staying prayed up. Woo! That's kept me.
The power of prayer is real.
And just, surrounding yourself with women like you to keep you lifted. Again, removing those negative people from your circle. That has certainly helped me to stay just focused and support.
Yeah, I talk about several. I'm one of those people. I'm very self-aware, so I know where my strengths are and I know where my weaknesses are. I tell everybody, my fiance pulls me off the cliff at least once a month. Like, get it together, get it together. So I'm one of those people that I have vision boards, I have journals, I have prayers that I read every day that come through my email. So I think when you can surround yourself with it, so that some days one thing might not work, but I always have something else that backs it up. And for me, it's always a God wink or something that'll connect with whatever I'm feeling that day. And I'm like, okay, I can get back on track. And just having, for me, having my fiance is an incredible part of this journey because he keeps me balanced because I am crazy.
Look, I'm cray.
I have those days where I'm like, what am I doing? I need to go get a job. In my early years of developing my business. And having that support, that encouragement, that love, that positivity, and making sure that I'm surrounded by that daily was the thing that kind of got me over that hump to just keep pressing on and to keep going. So thankful.
I think the biggest thing is God keeps reminding me, it's not about me. I'm not. You didn't go through all of that for you.
Right.
Somebody needs to hear your story.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's just one person. It's not about me. It's not about my feelings. It's not about what I feel about for the moment. It's not about me. So I have to get me out of the way because somebody who needs to be healed, my story can help them do that. But if I quit and I don't tell it, or I'm too ashamed to say, all the things that I've been through, I can't help anybody else. So that is what keeps me. Even the times where I've had times where I'm like, I ain't doing this today. Like, forget it, I'm done. But then God will always send somebody to remind me of why I'm doing it. Someone would just inbox me on Facebook, hey girl, your post really just been motivating me, or, just talk to me, can I talk to you for a minute? So God reminds me that it's not about me.
Yeah.
Your purpose is not for you.
Yes,
It's
that
for
reminds
others.
me of just something I love to say to the Think Like a Boss teens when I teach them about business. I say, if your dream only includes you, it's not big enough.
For you. Yeah.
It's not big enough. You need to
So
go
true.
right back to the drawing board and start again. Because at the end of the day, we are planting seeds for the tree of the future to be shade for somebody else.
Right.
Absolutely.
So yes, it's not about us.
Yep.
It's bigger than us.
Yep.
I always say that. So what does authenticity I didn't get it out. That's one of my favorite. God doesn't deny authenticity.
Not at all.
So what does authenticity look like to you? What does it feel like to you?
Oh my goodness.
Loaded question.
It's so interesting because as you talked about social media and you talked about fear, so many people are judging themselves based on what they see other people doing who are so disingenuous and are so unauthentic. And you don't realize it until you may be able to get closer to those individuals, or you pull the curtain and you say, oh my goodness, what's going on here?
Put it back.
So I think that is such a key characteristic that you must have, especially when your job and our jobs and our businesses have to do with impacting others. It's so important to have that genuine spirit and to be coming from an authentic place. You just touched you don't even know, because you meet so many people, especially not everybody's willing to grab your hand and say, let's collaborate or let's work together as women or entrepreneurs. So I think that is so important to have.
I'm going to say something about social media, because what most people don't remember is that, or what you should know is that social media, or Instagram specifically, is just a highlight reel. So when you talk about authenticity, I would say a lot of people are not portraying their authentic selves through their feed. That's just what they want you to see.
Right.
But you mentioned pulling that curtain back, and then you see the real person. But you acknowledge authenticity, and you can see straight through a person. Just look at their heart and their soul and the energy that they exude.
Absolutely.
I think that will help to determine and help you to really pinpoint who is authentic in your life, in your circle. And you're right. How are we going to impact young brown women, young brown girls, if we are not our realist and our most humble selves?
Absolutely.
I think it's just knowing who God called you to be. Stop trying to be like everybody else. Stop trying to be copies of everybody else.
Exactly.
You're different. You're unique. God made you the way He made you for a reason. Own it. Rock it. And just keep going with it. To me, when you get free from the thoughts of people, the likes, the followers, and all of that jazz, that's when you have really release the queen in you. That's when you're queening. When you're 100% raw, real yourself.
Yes.
You know, no lashes, no makeup, no painted smiles, none of that stuff.
Sometimes.
Right. But you know, when you can say, today I'm not feeling it, or you know, I'm going through this. When you can express how you're really, really, truly feeling without caring about the outside world, that's when you're 100% real with yourself.
Absolutely.
Right.
Authenticity is what I live by. That's all I know, and that's what got me through everything. I authentically live through my passions every day, where I was able to quit my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful for that. Being myself.
And wasn't that freeing?
It was, oh my God. It was the most freeing thing in the world. When I was working as an entertainer, when I was working in 9 to 5, I felt like an actor there.
Right.
Rather than when I'm on stage dancing or hosting or something. I felt fake there. So it was just crazy. But authenticity, God doesn't deny it, guys. So before we go, just give everyone your social media handles so they can know where to find you.
Yes, so I can be found at EQ Navigator. And if you want to find all my other social medias, you can go to my website at www.lenacohen.com.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Lynz, Lynz Christian TV.
And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and I just downloaded Snapchat, still learning it. I Release the Queen in You, and my website as well, releasethequeeninYou.com.
And you guys know where to find me at Think Like a Boss NJ. And thanks so much for watching Think Like a Boss TV today. I hope we inspired you to follow your dreams.